everybody, and welcome to Andrew Discusses. And today I want to talk about something that, honestly, I think is kind of amazing that nobody else has really touched upon yet. So, as a lot of you know, I have been binge-watching Knight Rider lately. Yes, Knight Rider. From 1982, by the way, from the 80s. The 80s Knight Rider with William Daniels as the voice of K.I.T.T, and David Hasselhoff as the guy that is in the car. I mean, oh, come on. Let's face facts here for a moment, if we may. Nobody in their right mind was watching Knight Rider for David Hasselhoff. They obviously couldn't get enough of him on Baywatch, and it's like, oh no, let's just watch him over here. Oh yeah! No. The only reason why people were watching Knight Rider was for the car. The only reason why people were watching Baywatch was for the slow-motion swimsuit runs. Those were the main reasons people were watching these things. Oh, you're watching Knight Rider for Michael Knight? I don't think so. I sure tell you. But it's actually got me thinking, especially after driving to work the one day. I was kind of looking around my car, and I'm like, okay, well, it's my mom's car, but still, I mean, I'm allowed to drive it. But no, it's true. But either way, I was looking around the car, and I'm like, how exactly hard would it be to make K.I.T.T the Knight Rider car now? And I know that there are a lot of people out there that will go out and find themselves a T-top Pontiac, and they will basically customize the hell out of it and remake the literal Knight Rider car. I have seen videos of it online. In fact, the one was really good. I mean, they really put a lot of time and effort into that, and they made that thing showroom ready. I mean, hell, I would have made that and sold it to the highest bidder. I mean, granted, okay, they would have been basically getting their money back and then some, but I would have looked at this and said, look, this is a labor of love. I'm going to build this, then I'm going to sell it to the highest bidder and make it somebody else's problem to own it. But, no, I mean, I respect it, but that's probably what I would have done. I mean, I would have been a little heartbroken, but I could just buy a K.I.T.T model from, like, eBay, like the Hot Wheels one, and I would have K.I.T.T the Knight Rider car, and it wouldn't cost me much money. Whereas, I could actually drive K.I.T.T. Yeah, no, I think I'll go with the model. I think I'll go with the model instead. Because I don't really want to drive around the Knight Rider car. I'd be too terrified. Plus, I don't think I'd fit in the damn thing. But this got me to thinking, because then there was the remake version of Knight Rider in 2008, which sucked ass horribly. But then that got me thinking, how difficult would it be to actually make a functioning K.I.T.T nowadays? And I don't mean like exactly like K.I.T.T was in the Knight Rider show. I mean your own personal version of it. I mean, it's not a black Pontiac T-top. Okay, we're talking a literal, like, whatever car you drive, a Jeep, I would say Hummer, but they have enough going for them, like a Chevy, a Hyundai, a Ford, whatever you drive, that personal vehicle, how difficult would it be to actually make that a K.I.T.T, like the Knight Rider car, like K.I.T.T? And I'm sitting there during the one episode when Michael had to install a memory, they had to reinstall and repair a repaired memory module in the K.I.T.T. And it's dawning on me, I'm like, it really wouldn't be that difficult nowadays to make the Knight Rider car, at least your own version of the Knight Rider car. I mean, we have cameras now, we have cars nowadays that have cameras on the back of them for rear braking and rear backup. There are cameras on the front of the cars now you can get. Pretty sure you can get them on the side, too. That way you can see in case something's on your blind spot. And that way you have no blind spot then. So really, you could have a car that has complete 360-degree view of angle every single second. Now, of course, you're not going to be able to have a car that's going to be able to, like, hack locks or, hack into computers. I mean, if that were to happen, I think there'd be a few government organizations that would love to come knocking on your front door, and not with a check and a bottle of champagne. Probably with some handcuffs and a federal warrant. And they're just going to take it from you. Yeah, it's like, cue that meme that was like years ago, was this huge thing, this meme. But, yeah, so you have stuff like that. But going further into this, it really wouldn't be that difficult. At least to make some functionality of K.I.T.'s systems. Like, okay, we could make a car that could technically drive itself. Google's been trying to do this for years, and several other companies have been following suit. You can easily have a remote control functionality, and with the 360-degree cameras, if we could actually work all the bugs out, yeah, a car could technically drive itself. Yeah, I mean, so long as we can get robots to actually walk upstairs. I still remember that, like, years ago, that, what was it, the Tashimoto bot or something? I just remember it was like Tasha something or other bot. It couldn't even walk upstairs. It fell off the steps. And I'm like, it doesn't have any gyroscopics in it. There's no gyros in it to equalize the balance when you're walking. Because whenever I walk, and I'm pretty sure I'm not alone, that when you walk, that's how you have the whole inner ear thing. The fluid inside your ear will technically make it so that you'll balance. It provides balance. That's why if you ever have an inner ear infection, it will throw off your balance tremendously. Believe me, I know. So you should easily be able to fix up a car that's already being fixed up to self-drive itself into a car that can talk to you and everything else. I mean, we have AI programs in a way. I mean, you have, Cortana, you have, oh hell, there's like a whole shit ton of them. There's even apps that you can get that are literal companions. It's an AI program. So it's not that difficult to get a simple idea for that. A microphone that could pick it up. I would recommend, I guess, you could go with a regular smartphone. I guess at this point, just mount it inside the dashboard and have the microphone be amplified slightly so it can pick you up. But yeah, otherwise, that would definitely work. It would still have the functionality of the phone, so it could actually call people. And at the same time, you would technically be able to talk to it. So that would actually work out pretty well. Speakers in the car are self-explanatory. Digital speedometer, all that stuff's easy. Granted, now you wouldn't have the pursuit mode. You wouldn't have, like, the oil slick, the ejector seats, or any of that fun stuff. Auto drive and normal cruise would be about, or auto cruise and normal cruise would be about your best bet for functionality. But, I mean, it really wouldn't be that difficult. Plus, now, a lot of people are going to go, well, how do you get the AI to have memory? I mean, that thing was expensive, memory-wise. Yeah, but you have to remember, though, that was 1980s technology. And back in the 80s, yeah, a couple gigabytes worth of RAM was a lot. Hell, a couple megabytes of RAM was a hell of a lot. Gigabyte didn't even exist back then yet. If you had a, because I remember watching like a lot of the 8-bit guy, and back in the 80s, if you had like a 64K of RAM, you were God. You were God tier if you had 64K. If you had, I think it was like 32 megabits of RAM. Holy shit! You were like the pinnacle of computer god. But nowadays, we have terabyte hard drives for game consoles. We have computers that can store loads upon loads of information. So, easily fixing up a couple terabyte hard drives and connecting them together, or creating, like, let's say, maybe like 250, or even just making the biggest hard drive you can, and installing that as the main memory module, yeah, I could definitely see that being the way to hold, like, all the information. It could basically have your schedule. It could link it to your phone. It could link it to your entire system. I mean, hell, you could actually just, like, in a way that I was saying, just take the phone literally from the dashboard, attach it to your wrist via, like, a wrist strap or something, and walk around with it. You'd still have your phone, and your car could call you and say, hey, we have an issue. I mean, hell, your washing machine can call you when your clothes are done. Your refrigerator can call you to tell you to pick up milk. I mean, we're at the technology age now. But let me explain this a little better in a way. For me, if I would have to build the Knight Rider car, if I want to build my own version of K.I.T.T, first off, I would not use the car that I'm using now, which is a 2007 Hyundai Accent. Like I said, it's my mom's car, and, you know, but still. I would not use the 2007 Hyundai Accent. No way, shape, or form would I use that. So, what exactly would I use? I would probably go with one of my old favorite cars. It was one that my mom... I mean, well, let's face it this way. my mom had the cars. I didn't ever have any of them in my name. I borrow her car, and it's fine because I'm on her insurance policy because I'm technically the secondary driver, so it does work. But either way, I'm getting ahead of myself. I would go and put for the frame would either, well, at least for me, because this was my favorite car. Because one, I could fit in it. So well could I fit in it. Two, it had plenty of room maneuverability. I liked the layout of it. Granted, there's always some stuff I would like to adjust on it, but still, I loved it. The Mercury Sable. And not just any, like the 2001 Mercury Sable is what we drove for the longest time. I loved that car. I never liked the color of it, but I loved that car. That car and I went through a hell of a lot together. It was a company car that my grandfather had driven, where he had worked at. Then when he retired, the owner was selling off the business and said, here, take the car, that's your retirement gift. My grandfather didn't want the car. My mom needed another car because the one that the second car she did have that I was using, wasn't going to pass inspection. So I ended up getting the better car, which worked out really good for me because I had air conditioner, a radio, a heater. The blue station wagon that I was driving back and forth to tech school had no working air conditioner, no working radio, no working heat. I had to roll down the windows in the summer. I had to put the defrost on in the winter. And now I go back, now with this car, it's the same process as that one. God, I miss that Sable every day. But yeah, but I would definitely, if I were building a Knight Rider car, I would want to make the body the 2001 Mercury Sable at least. Worst case scenario, I would probably find a Jeep, because I have always wanted to own a Jeep. I have always wanted to drive a Jeep. Like a Wrangler or Cherokee, one of the two. Probably a Wrangler, because I've heard horror stories about the Cherokees. The Jeep Cherokees just are horrible vehicles from what I've heard. So many issues with them, and I believe it. I believe it. My uncle and aunt owned one. That thing was constantly in the shop. I believe it. But I would definitely go with probably a Sable if I want an actual car. But if I'm going for like a Jeep, like I want something that can get around, I'll go with the Jeep. Either way, I'd be happy with either or. So then, what would I do to improve upon this? Well, I would definitely change up the dashboard. I have always hated the needled dashboard. For those of you that don't know what that is, standard dashboard, basically. It's the needle that always moves when you accelerate. It goes up and it slides back down to the left. It goes up to the right and back down to the left. I hate that. I have always wanted a digital speedometer. And I mean digital. So I would definitely go with the digital speedometer. I would change up the dashboard, have the fuel indicators and all that on the right side, which is where it kind of is now in this car that I'm in, the Hyundai. I would definitely have it on the right side. I like that. But I would also extend and curve it out a bit more for the driver's side. So like the driver's side could have access to like the radio and could change the stations a bit. Could, have it, just kind of like curve a little bit towards the driver's side, and then have the other side kind of be like a slow curve over that side. I think that would be pretty cool. Give the driver's side a bit more control. Sort of like, ironically, how K.I.T.'s dashboard is something like how I would want to have it, just not as massively, shot out at one end, just a slight curve. Definitely would go with power windows. But as far as the doors, I would probably be more content with changing up the door design. And I've always thought about this with cars. It's something that's constantly been on my mind. Because I thought the sliding doors on minivans were kind of cool, that you could slide the door out. And I was like, how come we can't make that for actual cars now? And I know that we have some of those fancier sports cars and that the door kind of like goes up on like a long angle. And that's kind of cool, but while I could see myself driving something like that, and yeah, that would make parking a hell of a lot easier. I could kind of see some issues with that, but yeah, I wouldn't mind a door like that for it. Mostly because it would be a little more high-end, and it would definitely make parking a lot easier. I wouldn't have to worry about somebody's going to come around and like bang my door. or I'm going to open it up and bang somebody's side of their car, and then they're going to get pissed off and try coming at me with a crowbar or something. I don't need that. But yeah, so something like that would definitely be it for me. As far as the memory, like I said, just shove a couple hard drives in there, a couple terabyte hard drives, have programs in, have it connect to the internet somehow. I mean, most newer cars have Wi-Fi in them, so it really shouldn't. It really wouldn't be that difficult to modify an older car to give it Wi-Fi capabilities, I don't think. Even in a grandiose scale, I don't think modifying an older car to make it a bit more modern would be that difficult. And I've watched a lot of car channels on YouTube, by the way. I mean, I've subscribed to Chris Fix, Watch JR Go. I've seen car shows like you wouldn't believe. It's sort of like a little thing I constantly have in the back of my head. It's like, I just kind of want to see how it works. You know, it's the one thing that I find interesting, mostly because I kind of have this neat idea to try to design my own car, and while I don't want to make it like Homer Simpson's, it would be pretty cool anyway. So, definitely would jet out the dashboard a bit, automatic on the floor all the way. I'm so used to that. I am so used to that, it isn't funny. Automatic on the floor. I love automatic on the floor. I don't want it on the console. I hate that so damn much. Automatic on the floor. Gotta be automatic on the floor. I'm so used to that at this point, it isn't funny. So definitely that. God, what else am I thinking here? Oh, there's like a few. There's a few things. Well, wheels would be standard, I guess. Really couldn't do anything fancy with that. But I mean, overall, it really wouldn't be that difficult to make my own version of the Knight Rider car. I mean, yeah, it's not going to be super powerful. It's not going to have an ejector seat, a micro jammer. It's not going to have turbo boost. I'm not going to be able to jump over shit. I'm not going to be able to go like wicked fast on it. It's not going to have a pursuit mode, a cruise mode, or a chase mode. No, it would just be a car that would be a companion. It would finally give a heart and soul to it. And like I said, it'd be my version of the K.I.T.T car. But of course, it wouldn't be the Knight Rider car. But I seriously don't, at least discussion-wise, I don't think it'd be that difficult to make the Knight Rider car. To make an actually functioning Knight Rider car, especially in this day and age. It's not that difficult to do. I mean, we have the technology. This is sort of like the whole $6 million man thing. You know, we have the technology. We can build this. We have the technology. Yeah, we do. We actually do. If you sit down and look at what we have available to us, we do have the technology to build this. We have the technology to build a smarter car. We're kind of already doing that as it is, in the form of the car that wants to drive itself, one that's got backup lights, rear braking detection, if you move off the road, if you take your eyes off the road. We have so many safety features that you have to admit have been influenced somehow by K.I.T.T from Knight Rider. I guarantee you somebody was like, hey, you know, I saw this show from the 80s, and the car talked, and it could brake, and it could pay attention to its surroundings, even when the driver was, like, out cold and unconscious. It was really cool. And, of course, yeah, I mean, that would benefit a lot of people. Like, hey, car that can brake itself just in case you can't brake fast enough, or your reaction time's a little slower. Like, you're under the weather, but you still had to go to work. Your reaction time's slower. Boom, car brakes for you. It's automatically paying attention because it knows you're not feeling well. So many cool things. But, yeah, I honestly think that would be a pretty cool idea. Maybe I'll do a video some point in time what my car design would be. That's like an idea. But either way, let me know what you think in the comments below. Is it possible, in your thoughts, to actually build the Knight Rider car nowadays? I mean, 100%. I mean, now granted, it's not going to be bulletproof, but maybe we might be able to make it resistant. But I doubt we'll be able to make it bulletproof. Might be able to prevent it from being damaged too badly. I mean, you never know. But, you know, what are your thoughts? Is it possible to make the Knight Rider car nowadays? Or a version of the Knight Rider car for you? Or is it still just a pipe dream from a science fiction show back in the 80s? Let me know in the comment section below, and until next time, I'm Andrew Rhodes, and this has been Andrew Discusses.